Alright, peace, y'all. I didn't know I ain't did a video in a minute, but wanted to talk about this real quick. This whole situation. I know a lot of people seen the situation with Umar and Tariq, and I don't want to really talk about what's wrong or what's right with that. Let me make sure. I didn't really want to talk about necessarily like who's wrong, who's right, and everything. I did want to talk about what I put in the title. I was just interested about this for a long time now. I've been thinking about this for a while because I'm always like, I don't understand why is it that when something goes down with black men, we think this way. But before I get into that, the first thing I want to do is I say that I do understand that when things happen between us in black society, there's a lot of people who they like to disrespect you, especially black people. See, they'll do it to black people. These will be the same people you won't see. They won't do anything to anyone else. You got people out here killing us. You got people out here in your community getting money. But if I come in the community, say I wanted to shoot a film or do something, people will want to shake me down on some gang stuff. So it's like we treat people separately. And you'll sit and see one black man disrespecting, doing something to another black man, and people will just laugh, oh, ha, ha, egging it on, doing this thing. This stuff has happened to me right here on this Facebook. You know what I mean? Somebody coming in, disrespecting me. Other people are supposed to be positive. They're laughing and egging it on. And no one really does anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're kind of left to yourself to respond however you respond. And then you respond, and then all of a sudden people will say, oh, oh, man, come on. Well, you better than this. You can't be doing this. It's just like, man, first of all, a lot of people agree with seeing this kind of foolishness. They agree with seeing black folks fighting each other, and then they want to come with this whole fake outrage. So, I wanted to speak to that. Yeah, come on. I think that's LJ. I mean, you know how it is, man. You'll sit up here and people will be disrespecting you. Nobody will have your back. They'll just laugh at you. You know what I mean? And then it's like you're not supposed to do anything. Or there's something wrong with you. So I definitely understand people responding to being disrespected, man. Definitely, right? So, but let's get to what I really wanted to talk about with this. So, is why is it that fighting? So we got Umar Johnson and these dudes. These dudes is like 50 years old. Peace, Tramel. Peace, bro. These dudes is like 50 years old, man. Okay? You have Tariq Nasheed, who, like I said, he did a video. It was funny. I definitely was laughing. I got enjoyment. I'm going to keep it real. I'm not above enjoying it. I'm not above it. Okay, I thought that was really funny. I thought he was clowning dude, right? But this dude, a lot of people don't know. I don't know how old he is exactly. This dude has like 4 kids. One of his kids is an adult. Okay? Then he has all kind of businesses. Hidden Colors, one of the most successful films, period, right? And he has assets, he has a whole family, the house they live in, and then this dude, he has gout, which is like a medical condition. You know what I mean? Somebody I know, they have it. It's like a medical condition where like you wake up, it's like you can, it's days where you wake up and you can barely walk. It's like an arthritis kind of thing. You know what I mean? So it's like, bro, you got assets you could be sued for. You have a family. You got like things going on, serious issues, and you have gout. But you think like, oh, I'm about that life. What's up? Pull up. It's just like, dude, what? Like, why would you even think that that's even makes any sense? You know what I mean? And then the same with Umar. I don't know as much about Umar, but like dude said, I mean, Umar, he's not in the best of shape. He spends most of his days talking to kids who are in situations where if they're looking up to him, they got to look at and be smart about the conflicts that they get into. You know what I mean? Because even as grown men, but especially as like youth, when that kind of stuff always happens, these things could spiral out of control. So I asked myself, like, why do people think that this is okay? And, I hate to let you down because honestly, I don't really have a real answer as to if it should be or not. Because for me, I'm looking and I've been thinking about this. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong or whatever your opinion is. I don't really see other communities. I kind of only see black men. Well, like anybody fights, right? Everyone fights, especially around alcohol. Typically around alcohol. That's when you see men fighting each other, women fighting each other. Alcohol makes people fight. But with black males, and again, I don't know, I don't see this really with other people. And I was listening to, I think I was watching Vlad. He kind of brought that up. He's like, Steve Jobs and Bill Gates hated each other, but you never really heard them talking about, oh, we gonna punch each other in the face, or having a bunch of stories like Diddy where he's hitting people with weights and slapping people and doing all of this. So why is it that black men don't see it as childish and immature? Okay, he said people come from different places where they are taught that's acceptable. No, but Aaron, the question I'm really asking, and because I could be wrong, I tend to focus on blacks. I only really see black men, like, for instance, if we say, oh, man, he did this or whatever, man, I'll knock his punk ass out or whatever, right? If a person is talking to you and you say something like that, I feel like the collective consciousness of black men is they look at that as honorable and not childish. Not childish. He said, I see poor white people. Now, but let me ask you, do you feel that the collective consciousness of white people is that if you settle your issues and you do it like, oh, well, I'll go punch him in his face, I'll go knock that nigga out, right? And you're 40. Do they see that as collectively as childish, or do they see that as like honorable? You know what I mean? You say you think it's pride because we feel we have to prove ourselves. Yeah, I mean, it could be pride. It could be that too. Because, like I said, I'm going to drop the atom bomb. I agree with it too, man. I ain't going to lie to you, bro. I agree with it too. Because a lot of times you hear people, they be talking, and it's like, dude, if you got all this problem, then let's just fight then. And for me, my main issue with it is like, let's bring a resolution to it if it's that serious. But when I'm looking at this and I'm looking at these two grown men, a dude who could get sued for fighting, he has assets, could be sued, has a medical condition, like they're old. Like you're not supposed to fight at 50 anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? So why is it that we still see this as acceptable? And I'm looking at that, but I was having a conversation with my uncle not too long ago, and he was telling me a situation like, yeah, I'm gonna fight this dude over that. Oh, he don't want, I'll beat his ass. And I'm like, oh man, hey, shit, he talking shit. But I'm like, wait a minute. My uncle ain't far from them. He's like their age. So I'm like, I'm looking at this whole situation, and I just want to start the discussion amongst black men is like, when are we gonna, or do we need to? Because again, I told you my stance. I still believe in a fair one. But like, when are we gonna say like, bro, what does a fight? Because this is the ultimate, the truth, the reality. Let's say I get into it with, Aaron said, I seriously see poor whites do. Okay, but no, I'm saying between all of whites, because I just gave you like Diddy. Diddy is like, supposedly he's like an elite person amongst us as far as being successful and all these different things. There's all kind of stories of Diddy hitting people, slapping Drake, and hitting Steve Stout in the head with something. And because he had a legitimate gripe, most people that I talk to say they understand why he put hands on these people. So I'm saying amongst all, the whole everything, not just poor blacks. I see this amongst all men. Nipsey Hussle just got into it with a reporter. Nipsey Hussle just got into it with this reporter, and he's saying like, well, what, you want to fade? Okay, pull on up. We could do that. He said you can't generalize all people like that. Too many variables. Well, no, okay, well, just black folks then. I don't know. That's why I'm saying I'll kind of only really focus on black folks, and we could just deal with black folks. If anyone has any opinions on if we're alone as black men with this, let me know. Tramel said, as far as they are concerned, they should be intelligent enough to settle what they have in a debate. That's true. That's true. You could settle in the debate, but just sometimes people be talking so much big stuff, man, that it seems like it's more than just a debate thing. You know what I mean? Thurgood Marshall to Kodak, but yeah. All right. Well, let me get into what I'm saying though. So, we just need to have that discussion of where it is, because even if, let's say, I got a dispute with Aaron Hall, right? Aaron Hall says, oh man, you a punk, man, you this and this and that, man. You shouldn't have did this, or you don't do this, or whatever, right? Whatever our dispute is, if me and Aaron Hall meet up and we put our hands up and fight, at the end of the fight, all it's gonna mean is whoever wins the fight, they just were a better fighter, and that's not really the truth, right? He said, Aaron, I would never say that, right? Yeah, I feel you, but it's like it's not. It might not even really be who wins the fight. It'll be just like who didn't trip over the curb or something, like, you know what I mean? Some like nonsensical BS, that will settle the fight. right? And in the end of the day, like me and Earnhardt, like this brother, he's not a boxer as far as I know, right? He's not a boxer. I'm not a boxer. You know, he's dealing with cameras and doing stuff and specialized to like handling business like most people do, right? So what does it matter if we get into a fight and then for whatever reason somebody ends up losing, or you know what I mean? What do you prove? Nothing. Like, it doesn't matter. It just means that this person won a better fight. And it's like, for all these people that want to go around calling people out for the fade all day, it's like, bro, if you're so tough, why don't you be a boxer? Why don't you be an MMA fighter? Why don't you pick up the hot hobby? And then you could there's people who actually fight every day. And if you're such a great fighter, why don't you go and fight people who actually fight every day? He said because dialogue and indifference is seen as weakness. I mean, I guess it could be. It could. I'm gonna tell you why I think it really happens in a second. But again, I don't see what is the point. It's like, what does this prove if we're not boxers? You know what I mean? It's just like, dude, we live in a time. It's 2017. Okay, there was a time where, like, if two men had a dispute, we'll challenge each other to a duel, and we might, like, die, right? There was, like, when there was, like, one sheriff in town, men actually had to really kind of protect. Everybody was kind of going around strapped. This is an old time where that was necessary, but it's 2017. There's police on every block. Okay, there's you will get put in jail. You putting your hands on people, they can sue you. You got civil court, criminal court. There's an army. There's National Guards. There's people that's holding down the local places. So like, you out here on this cold, like, savage caveman stuff doesn't mean anything today. Okay, the men who are the most successful, have the most money, making the most waves, doing the most things, it's not because they can get on and put their hands up and beat you up in some little rinky-dink street fight, two grown-ass men that got, like, medical issues. And their back's going to be hurting after this, and they're going to figure out they got a slipped disc, and one's going to have a gout episode. Like, what? That has nothing to do with anything. Even if you win the fight, if it's that serious, why don't you become a boxer? Go fight people who fight. If that's what you want to do, and make money off of it. Make it make sense. Why do black men, like, dude, beef over some money? Beef over somebody did something to, like, your family. Beef over something that matters, like, not somebody called you some insult or something childish, right? But again, my main point is what? To fighting, that does nothing, right? So we do that. We go through that. So again, yeah, he said wasting energy. Exactly what you're doing. So again, my whole point is, even with the fight, if you win the fight, this does nothing. Okay? So we got to think about this as black men. You know, again, peace, Barry. Barry came in the house. Yeah, peace. And because the thing about it, we just need to have a discussion, because the truth of the matter is, like I told you, man, I'm kind of guilty myself, man. I kind of see that. I still see fighting as a conflict resolution. I still see it, but maybe we should consider that, man. Maybe we should think about that, right? A second ago, someone said that people think sitting down and settling issues or whatever is weakness. But I think the reality is this. The reality is, most grown men, most people do not have, they do not want to be out here fighting anybody, okay? I hear a lot of people talking about who they want to fight, what they want to do to someone, right? But, you know, there's no fights, don't happen. No one ever does anything, because the reality is, most people don't want to do anything, you know? Most people don't want to be out here fighting, and, but they want to do what? They want to sit and talk about it. They want to sit and grandstand and be publicly saying, oh, I'll beat your ass. I'll do this. I'll do this. I'll do this. Right? But they don't never do it. You know what I mean? And my thing is, if you're not going to do it, okay, it's like all of these fighting, it's all these gangsters that's going to shoot somebody. All these people in the block, right? But they never do it. So my thing is this. If you're not going to do it, please stop talking about it. You know? And I say stop talking about it. Like I said, I'm Tory. You know, if you know me for a while, you know me. I'm not a gangster. I'm not a thug. I'm not a tough guy. That's not what I do at all. I haven't said anything to anybody that didn't say something to me first. You know what I mean? Ever. I've never been like that, and I've never been a bully. So it's just like, if you don't want to fight, what is the harm in saying that? What is the harm in just saying, dude, I'm not about violence. I'm not about a bunch of fighting and dumb stuff that doesn't make money. What is the harm in saying that? You know, I wish way more people would say that, and that's a big part of the reason like that I be wanting to see it. I like people will be around me talking, and I'll say, okay, well, go ahead and fight then. No, just stop everything right now and just do it. You know what I mean? Because the reality is you don't want to do it, and if you don't want to do it, man, shut the hell up. You know, shut up with all that, man. I'm tired. Just shut up with all the talking. You know what I mean? It's just like, dude, we're not savages. It's not 1491. It's just not that. You know what I mean? So what do you talk? Stop talking about fighting. Stop talking about this stuff. And again, most of the time it's nothing to talk about. But you just want attention. You want a grandstand. You want to look a certain way. You want to make it look like, oh yeah, I'm Mr. Tough Guy, man. And you know how many times I heard this nonsense? Man, I ain't the one to play with like that, man. You know what I mean? I ain't the one to play with. Motherfuckers out here playing with you all day. You ain't fought nobody yet. Ain't nobody fought nobody. But everybody, this is big tough guy. Nobody's fighting nobody, nothing. No fights happening nowhere. Nowhere, nothing. People saying stuff, you'll reach out to somebody, they won't even want to do it. You know what I mean? You call somebody out, they don't want to fight. Nobody wants to fight. So it's like, what? Let's just all come together and say, look, we don't want to fight. And if you want to fight, become a damn boxer. Or take it up as a side hobby, and all the tough guys get together, do bare knuckle boxing, and do your thing. Because look, I'm not against that. I'm not against tough guys. I'm not against whatever. I'm just saying, make it make sense. And, you know, don't be a bully. Don't be a bully picking on other people. Fight with other people who want to fight too. Fight other tough guys. Aaron said, I see this problem so much. We teach and spread the building of ego. We make our ego so large. Yeah, brother, there you go. I'm glad you said that word. Ego. There's a bunch of ego. You know what I mean? Ego. And again, like I said, you know, you gotta have a healthy amount of ego to an extent. Like that's like one of my things. I'm like too humble. Sometimes you gotta have a healthy ego, but you be real with your ego. Don't come out calling people out to these phantom fights that ain't never gonna happen because you don't really want to do nothing. You see, if you're gonna be a tough guy, go after other tough guys. You know, don't come after us like guys like, I ain't saying nothing to nobody. I don't want to be in nobody's fight, but I will fight you. And if you want to fight me and you have that kind of issue, you can just hit me up directly. Stop putting it on Facebook, on public, and making us look bad, bruh. And that's what I'm going to get into this code of ethics here in a second, because the key with this, and shout out to a brother, his name is Mr. Holipsism on YouTube, and Mark Goney on Facebook. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And he came up with a code of ethics. And the key to the code of ethics being that, like for instance, you got these brothers, Boyce Watkins, Umar Johnson, Tariq Nasheed. They're black men who are, you know, they're responsible for a great deal of thought leadership in this so-called black power, black consciousness thing. Hold on, Barry said they ain't ready for the truth, King. It is all for show. These Negroes need to show some kind of invincibility. Don't believe the hype. Yeah, I'm with you, bro. It's all. That's what I'm saying. It's all for show. It's, you know, you don't have to say nothing to swing. You know, seriously. But anyway, back to what I'm saying. So all of these men, they all have something to do in this community. This it's like a movement, you know, that different people look at, right? So the problem is this: when you have people that are representing something, and every single other day, these dudes is beefing over something. It's another fight. It's another argument. Such and such clown and such and such. Hey, man, did you see this? Hey, man, did you see that? Bro, you make yourself look crazy. You make yourself look very bad. You know, I understand. We're men. You know, men get into it. You know, it happens. Men have egos. And that's why I say, I'm like, okay, look, I get it. I agree with the fighting. But it's like, if you're going to fight, just fight. You know what I mean? If you're going to fight, just fight. And don't be picking on nobody that ain't doing nothing to you. That's all I'm saying. And if you just like, whatever, I'm a tough guy, I got problems, then find another tough guy and mess with them, right? But if we're going to fight, right, we have to have a code of ethics to where it can't be so public. And I just wanted to share this. This is the last thing right here. I'm gonna put the link to this when I'm done with this video. I'm gonna put the link to this list. There's also a video of the brothers. They're discussing and going into better detail than I'm gonna go into here. But basically the key to this is a code of ethics. It's called Code of Ethics 101, Conflict Resolution Suggestion, 72-hour rule. So basically what this is doing is giving you a way to resolve conflict. And it's just some rules that people have to agree to. It's basically just an honor system, and it's a set of rules, right? Okay, so the first things first, right? So with this, I'm You know what? I'm gonna read it from here what it says. So it says, if you feel you've been publicly disrespected by a member of the Black African Center culturally conscious community via audio, video, written article, these are the steps to take before a public rebuttal is justified. Okay? So somebody does something to you. We all are supposed to agree to this. Then once we agree to this, this is the way that if you want to retain your honor, that these are the steps that you have to take. Right? So it says, immediately contact the person who disrespects you. Not through YouTube, not through the public. You immediately contact the person directly, right? And then it says, 2, the person you contact cannot avoid you or not talk to you. This is not an option and should be unaccepted within the culture. I had this issue. I try to reach out to somebody directly so we don't have to get into it on Facebook, but then they avoid you. So it's like they're not giving you the chance to resolve it. So we got to deal with that too, right? It says 3, if both parties are so emotional and worked up that they cannot speak to each other in person, both must agree on a third-party mediator for the discussion. So that's, again, a third-party person, and it should always be somebody, usually like the nation is pretty neutral, you know, usually everybody's cool with them, or just anybody that 2 people can agree with. You bring somebody in the middle of it, because usually by the time you do this, you take just these 2 steps and put somebody in the middle of it. The reality is, like I told you earlier, the average man, the average person doesn't want to be fighting. Otherwise, we would just be fighting every day. You see? They don't want to fight. That's why you don't see the fights happening. So if you get together and you can sit down and with someone and mediate it, usually you can resolve most of these issues, right? All right, so then it says number 4. It says any conversations or discussions within the 72-hour period are confidential and between both parties and the mediator, and if the conflict is not resolved, cannot be used in any rebuttal. This is very important. This stuff all should be privately done, okay? Privately done. We spoke earlier. The whole reason that people are doing this is because of ego. This is ego. You're trying to get girls. You're trying to look tough. You're trying to go out here and, I ain't the one to play with, and I'll knock his ass out. We don't need no ring. And see, you're trying to look and portray a certain thing. So what that does, it puts an incentive on this foolishness behavior. It puts an incentive on the foolishness. Now, see, if we come with this and we say, listen, any real man has to agree to this conflict resolution thing. And then once you come out and you break these rules, you're dishonorable, you get no love, you get no respect. You see what I mean? Now we take the incentive away from the foolishness. That's why, we need to implement something like this, right? And then it says number 5, it says 48 hours of conversation and 24 hours of physicality. Or wait a minute, it says if you cannot work out your differences within 48-hour period, then the next 24-hour period will be allocated at both parties' expense to set up a physical fight between both parties with no weapons involved. If both parties do not agree to the fights, all conflicts must be squashed and or resolved because it is clear that both parties do not have a real beef. It says if both parties agree to the fight, 3 rounds max, unless there's stoppage. After the fight, all the beef is squashed and resolved, and all discussions of the fight and the results of the fight will be private and confidential. Any violation confidentiality will be dealt with by the unbiased whole with severe penalties for the abuser. So basically, you get together, 2 people that claim they have this private thing, they deal with this all privately. See, now, the reality is, most of these people do this grandstanding because it's public. If we could get this done, if we even need to be fighting, I just want black men to kind of think about that. I don't know why we think it's like so honorable to fight all the time. And again, I'm guilty myself. I agree with this. I agree with, listen, if it has to come to that, then let's fight, right? But we need to think about that as a community, right? But if you do have to fight, let's get together. Follow the steps on this thing, and if you're just joining me, I'm going over a 72-hour rule conflict resolution thing where basically 2 people get at each other directly, get mediation, and if they fight, they fight. All of the results of everything are all kept secret, right? So yeah, and then it says here, Yeah, okay, yeah, and that's basically the end of it. It also says something against the unbiased whole, which is the instigators. You know, the instigators. It's like there's something in it for you too. You shouldn't be out here trying to get people to, if you caught wind of this situation, or you're trying to pump it up and get them to do things and say things about things publicly. You know what I mean? Because that's a big part. I actually reached out to the author of this, which again, his name is Mr. Holipsism, or Mark Goney on Facebook, and I asked him that because, you know, somebody could publicly disrespect you and you look a certain way if you don't respond. But his response to that was, we should all be together. Any man of any consequence in this movement should say, listen, I agree to this. I'm not going to, so I can't publicly disrespect a man. I have to go to him directly. So once you publicly disrespect a man, you've broken this whole code. You know what I mean? And the community should look at you as accordingly. You know what I mean? You lose honor by breaking any of these rules. So I just wanted to put this up here. I'm going to put the link to this in the video that the author and originator, who also has a lot of other great content, I'm going to put the video on this video. And yeah, I mean, that's all, man. I just want us to just think about that, man. These men are old. You know what I mean? And I mean, see, not to disparage nobody or whatever, but the thing is, bro, you got gout, you have a family, you can be sued for fighting, you can lose assets, you know, you actually have real things that you need to do. So it's like, I go out, you know, it's like for me personally, my job, my life could be on the line in my job. So now I gotta, outside of my job and what I do to feed my daughter, I get into a fight and I break my wrist or hurt my knuckle or something like that, and then I gotta go to actual work and I can't defend myself. It doesn't make sense. So we got to think about the logic of this. And that's really all, man. I just want to start a conversation with black men. I don't know if other people don't see this as childish and see it as honorable the way that we do. You know what I mean? I just don't know about it. So, I mean, that's really it, man. Thanks for checking out the video. Just look at that, think about that, y'all, and peace.